Could nuclear be one of the next new opportunities to focus on? Joining us now to understand what that looks like. And remember, in India, we've just seen the government pass the Nuclear Civil Liability Bill, and that opens up the possibility of the private sector participating. And as you heard the minister say, that SMRs, of course, could be a part of the plan for the private sector, but we could see other options as well. To help us understand where things currently stand and where the world is headed to, we have with us Sama from the Nuclear Association. Thank you very much for joining us, Sama. And that's what I want to build on. Where are we today when it comes to energy provided by nuclear sources, and what's the outlook? What does your report say?
Yes. So as you just said, we released yesterday the World Nuclear Outlook report that provides a summary of where we are in nuclear. So on the one hand, nuclear continues to provide about 10% of global electricity. 2024 was the largest generation ever, so nuclear generation continues to increase. And as you know, it's also the second largest source of clean, carbon-free electricity at a global level. But the good news, what you will see in this report, is that with everything that we are building today, over 70 reactors at a global level, with what is planned, what is proposed, and all the government targets, including this 100 gigawatts in India by 2047, we will surpass our goal of at least tripling global nuclear capacity by 2050. So that is exciting. That is the good news.
Well, you know, if that is what you're working towards, or the estimates are working towards, I want to understand where you're seeing the most build out. Because when we talk about renewable energy, in the last few years, it's largely been driven by China. And of course, India has also played a part there. On nuclear, who's on the leaders board?
Well, every country in the world, or many countries in the world, are considering nuclear. At the same time, you're right. There are countries that are much bigger, with larger energy demand. So of these, more than 14 gigawatts of global nuclear capacity that we expect to see by 2050, we see that almost 1,000 of those 1,400 are going to be in China, in France, in India, in the US, and in Russia. So those are countries that they are for the most part already with significant nuclear parks, and they are continue to increase them.
Mm-hmm. And are you seeing partnerships between large tech companies and companies that could provide nuclear energy as a source?
You mean like AI companies?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
no, of course, yeah. This is what is a little bit new nowadays. The large energy users are quite interested in nuclear energy. They understand that nuclear can provide them the abundant, affordable, 24/7 carbon-free electricity and steam that they need. So yes, we are seeing lots of partnership with Google, with Meta, with Microsoft, with Amazon, with many others, but not just AI and technology companies. We are seeing many other sectors of the economy, chemical companies such as Dow Chemical, or metallurgical companies like many in the world. They are all very interested in seeing not just electricity, but high temperature steam for nuclear to help them decarbonize and power their efforts.
And also help us understand what the playing field is in terms of companies that are actually operating in this space. I mean, Westinghouse now, Brookfield is of course the big one,
right.
But what does it look like in terms of geographical presence?
Well, I mean, we have nuclear expertise in many parts of the world. Yes, you mentioned Westinghouse in the United States, but also in Canada. We have Atkins-Realis with the CANDU technology. In France, we have obviously EDF and the entire French infrastructure. In the UK, we have Rolls-Royce. In Europe, there are many other companies that are bringing also new reactors. And then we have, of course, Korea, very strong with KHNP, very strong reactors. In Japan, well, you have Mitsubishi, you have Toshiba, you have many companies, and then of course you have China, India, Russia. So there is many players in the global nuclear supply chain, and this is part of what is beautiful about nuclear, right? It's truly a global industry where everybody is really working together.
And what are we talking about in terms of private sector investment to be able to achieve the targets that you spoke of?
Yeah, well, we are seeing a lot of interest from the private financial community, private banks, private financial institutions. They are quite interested in nuclear. But in many cases, there is a need to have some government involvement, and I don't mean money, I mean the signals, the long-term confidence, the long-term plans. So once that those long-term plans are put in place, the private capital is ready to invest. And we have just seen this, for example, in the UK, so as we'll see, as soon as the government has made clear targets and clear expectations, there has been an oversubscription of private money that has been interested in finance that effort. We are seeing something similar in Sweden, and we are seeing something similar in other parts of the world, in the UK, in Canada, in the US, in Canada.
So, you know, SMRs, and what else? Micro reactors, I mean, what are we talking about? What could we potentially see?
So I think that we are going to see, or we are already seeing, a full spectrum of technologies. So we have obviously the traditional large reactors that are and will continue to be, I think, the backbone of the nuclear industry. But we are starting to see already a few small modular reactors being deployed. We have them already in Russia, in China, and they are starting construction in Canada and in the United States, in Europe. And then, yes, we will also see micro reactors for very specific applications. So I think that what we are seeing is that the business case of a nuclear power plant is being diversified. So we are seeing still the large projects, but we are also now going towards product, things that are more easily deployable, and they can be much more customized for specific applications, like, as I was saying, industrial parks or perhaps remote location mining sites, things like that.
So, Sama, let me end then by asking you about the safety question, because that, of course, is something that as a consumer you worry about, given the past history. How safe is the move towards more and more nuclear energy?
Well, as I was saying before, nuclear energy is today and has been for the last 50 years 10% or more of the global nuclear industry, the global electricity. So clearly we've been chugging along, providing electricity very safely. And as an engineer, I can tell you, I am a nuclear engineer, and we've been working very hard to learn from the knowledge at a global level, to learn from previous errors, to actually assimilate all that information to become always better, always safer, always more reliable, always 24/7 ready to provide this clean carbon-free power.
Well, Sama, thanks very much for joining us here in Davos and giving us an outlook for the nuclear energy sector in 2026 and through to 2030 and 2050, the opportunities that throws up, and the private sector participation, and the need that is going to arise on account of the move towards greater artificial intelligence, data centers, and so on and so forth. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18.